Today's conversation is all about becoming her, discovering who we are beyond our titles, embracing life's transitions, and finding the confidence to live authentically. I'm your host, Tetra Shockley, and we're back with fresh conversations, inspiring guests, and meaningful discussions that celebrate the power of every woman's voice. And later, we're putting our guests on the spot during a game that we like to call Unpopular Perspective. Joining me today are two incredible women who I happen to have known for quite some time, with each having her own inspiring story. First, we have Shana Williams, an entrepreneur, a business leader, and a proud mother of three whose journey has been defined by resilience, reinvention, and empowering others, including myself, both professionally and personally. And joining her is none other than Amanda Kuhl, former Miss Delaware, advocate, breast cancer warrior, survivor, and founder of Cancer Isn't Cool. Through Amanda's story of strength and service, she's inspiring others to find hope and purpose through life's greatest challenges. Ladies, welcome to Her Perspective.
Thank you. We're so excited to be here.
I'm excited to have you. I have known each of you for quite some time, just through, and we'll get into that as we're chatting.
But I just get into all of it.
We're getting into all. You don't want to get into all of it. We'll keep some back. But listen. Even introducing you, ladies, I could go on forever just with your bios and just all that you have done in the community. Yeah. But I kind of want to get into this conversation about becoming her, right? And so even with all the wonderful things that you have done and achieved, tell me who you are beyond career, title, or social status.
Well, that's probably one of the most challenging questions that anybody could be asked. Like, who are you? Tell me about yourself, because you want to go to that. I am this. I'm a cancer survivor. I am a mother of three. I'm a business owner. Your natural inclination is to go there. Yeah. But when you really, really, really think about it, that doesn't define who you are, because those labels, and I know this firsthand because lately I've had a lot of transition, okay? And I'm sure we'll talk about it. Those labels can be taken away from you, or you can transition into a different stage of life and you're not that person. Yeah. No. Anymore.
So who are you?
So, and I've really been pondering this since you asked me to come on this, and I'm so proud of you for doing this. And this is you walking into your purpose. And I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
I've really been thinking a lot about it. And when I think about it, I may have been all the things that you talked about in the intro. But I think at my core, I would consider myself a builder. So I've built businesses. I've built a career for myself. I built a family. I build relationships, and I build connections.
That's good.
So at the core of who I am, that's who I would say I am as a person.
You know what I love about that, and Amanda, I want you to share too, but what I love about that is, for me, identity is something, first of all, for me, it's God-given, right? And so if it's God-given, it can't be something external, right? And it has to be something that no matter what happens in life and where you find yourself, you're still that.
Yes.
And so you'll get into some of your story with some of the things that you've built and maybe where those things are now versus where you envision them being. But even with what's happened to those things, you can still be, and you still are, a builder. Yes. So that's like a really great example of, for me anyway, what identity means. So Amanda, what about you? Outside of all the great things that you have accomplished, who are you?
So I think our identity often changes with whatever phase of life we're in. So my current phase, I have a 5-year-old at home. I'm a stay-at-home mom. So I am Hudson's mom, first and foremost. But at the core of who I am, I think I'm just like a storyteller. Whether it's my story, whether it's someone else's story, I just want people to know that they're, not alone in their experiences, that even if my experience doesn't quite match up to something that you've lived, we can find some common ground just through the storytelling.
And that's powerful, because with storytelling, there has to be a level of vulnerability and transparency, right?
And a lot of just free share.
Yes. And you have to be willing to do that, right? And I have to imagine you have found through your storytelling other people, and we're going to talk about women today because that's what we're about today, but just other women who have connected with you and maybe have even found some of themselves because of your willingness to be vulnerable and authentic.
Absolutely. And I know we're going to talk about social media a lot, but social media really helped me through a tough time in my life, and it helped me connect to people that were going through something similar.
Yeah. So Amanda, I know a little bit of your story because we've known each other. The three of us know each other through pageantry, right? But we know each other deeper than pageant life. But I know through some of your story, I think this is a question that you could answer that women could identify with too. And so what labels have been placed on you that you've had to probably even, I was going to say that you've had to overcome, but also reject a little bit, right? People put labels on us and sometimes we have to just reject that. So what has been that for you?
You know, people give labels because they're easy, but labels just should not define who you are.
Yeah.
When I was going through cancer, the obvious label that I had to receive was cancer patient.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's one that I truly hate because at the time I just was going through the motions and I just wanted to get through that phase of my life and be on the other side of it.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like, you just have to see those labels.
And what about Chad's wife?
Oh my God.
What about that label for you?
My husband, for everyone else, for everyone not on this couch. He was a professional athlete. So, you know, in the professional athlete world, when you're just tied to, you know, that person as you're traveling through, yes, I was Chad Kuhl's wife for much of my life, or Chad Kuhl's girlfriend, or
because you've been with Chad a long time.
Yes,
How long?
We've been together since middle school.
Yeah.
So literally at the hip. One story though that really, like, when we were chatting a little earlier, that really came to mind was we were at a spring training luncheon with wives, and you know, we were all introducing ourselves and we were all going down the road like, oh, I'm so-and-so's wife, I'm so-and-so's fiance. Someone just had the, I want to say audacity, but I mean that in like the kindest way, to stand up and be like, I'm Amanda Kuhl and I am, you know, standing here today and Chad Kuhl is my husband. Like,
yeah, taking some of that power back, right? Like, I'm not his wife, he's my husband.
And like in that moment, like, again, it was not me. I did not have that call. But in that moment, we were all just like, yes. So that's
and
always
Shana,
been in my
you
brain.
can relate a little bit to what Amanda's saying from the Chad's wife perspective to Harmony's mom, right? You have a just superstar daughter who has all the personality. She's out there in life, has so many followers and fans and friends, and she just lights up everywhere she goes, every room she walks into.
Absolutely.
So what is, you're almost in her shadow, right?
Oh my gosh, yes. I was definitely used to being Harmony, and now I'm taking a step back and people are introducing me and looking at me, oh, that's Harmony's mom over there. So that's been interesting, and it's actually been really fun and rewarding to like take a back seat and let her light shine, because she does have such a dynamic personality. And I'm totally here for it. She is like me on steroids, and I love it. So I absolutely love it. But I think when you know your identity, you're okay with taking that step back. So it's okay for you to be Chad's wife sometimes, because you know who you are. But for some of those women at that luncheon, that may have been all that they are.
All their identity is.
So-and-so's
or all that
husband
they
is,
think they are, all that they'll give themselves permission to be, because they don't recognize their own power. And so that makes me think even more about purpose, because even you talking about being a builder and a storyteller from an identity perspective, but I feel like that trickles a little bit into purpose too, right? Because not only do we struggle sometimes with who am I, but we can also struggle with why am I here, right? It's one thing to know who you are, but then what am I on the earth to do? And so when you think about that perspective of purpose, how has, your life transitions help you rediscover your purpose? Because, you talked about building some things that maybe we'll talk about how that transition. You've talked about your cancer scare and then, journey and survival. How have those or even other life experiences redefined or reshaped your purpose?
See, I always think that motherhood gave me purpose in my life, and then cancer helped me realize how to live that life.
Okay, that's good,
because it gave me that that notion that life is too short, and you need to just go out and live your life every single day as fully as you physically can.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Most of my transitions that have given me purpose have been centered around some type of loss. Like I've lost both parents, I've lost my first child. But out of those losses, some beautiful, beautiful things emerged, some beautiful relationships with so many different women. Even my business that I owned for 10 years. The purpose and the name is from just losing my own mother. The bumblebee on my neck, the bumblebee on the logo is from losing my daughter. So, loss has brought a lot of purpose into my life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And truly changed me. And, it's shown me that you can lose something and, you can feel like your life is totally in a tailspin. But, my friend said once to me, she said, in the midst of her divorce, well, I built that, I can build it again.
Absolutely.
That's so good. And that comes back a little bit to identity, right? And so here's the thing for me. So I have a nonprofit called You Are the Crown.
Yes.
And You Are the Crown is near and dear to me. For me, it comes from Isaiah 62:3. Shanna, I know you know this. Amanda, you've probably heard me say it as well, but for the viewers, Isaiah 62:3 says, "And you shall be a crown in the hand of God, a royal diadem in the hand of your Lord." And so what that spoke to me was, if because I'm a pageant girl, right? So for us, at the end of the day, we want the crown and the sash. Well, unfortunately, in pageantry, there are ladies that think that the crown is what validates them. And that scripture taught me that the crown, and I'm not just talking about pageantry, I'm talking about the business, the career, the husband, the kids, whatever that crown is, that's not what validates you.
Everything is temporary.
It not only is it temporary, it's ever changing, right? And so it's something, thinking that the crown gives you value instead of knowing I'm the thing of value. That scripture says that I'm the crown in God's hand. So I'm already valuable. And so leaning into that and saying, okay, well then who am I separate from all of that? And that's what kind of drives this conversation for me. But then on top of that, there's the purpose piece. And so for me, purpose is no matter where I am in life, I can do purpose, right? My purpose, I know, is to encourage women, which is why I'm so excited about this show, to uplift women. I can do that from a prison cell.
Yes, you could.
You could take away my law degree. You could, God forbid, take my husband and kids, but I could still do purpose anywhere. And so that's the thing.
You can do it sending memes like the one you sent me the other day.
Sending memes, yes.
I mean, I've had a little dating dilemma.
So this is where I want the conversation to go now. So we talked about identity and purpose. Where I think we get tripped up is platform, right? So platforms is what I believe changes. I believe our true identity stays the same. Our purpose is something that we should be able to do no matter what's going on in life. But the platform is the thing that we use to be who we are and to do what we're supposed to be doing. So I want you to have an opportunity to share your platforms. What are the things that are going on in your life, or even things you dream of doing in the future that you can use to be who you are and do what you believe you're supposed to be doing?
Well, I mean, my platform has changed so many times over the years. So initially, I was an award-winning sales rep for many, many years in pharmaceutical and medical device sales. And that was absolutely wonderful. But I knew that there was something else that I should be doing. Of course, it gave me the platform to be able to buy the big house, to have the cars, and to have all the things. But it wasn't necessarily, my true calling. And that's when I opened Cecile Boutique. And so that was my platform. My platform was working with these young women, giving them, empowering them, letting them make business decisions, letting them grow into.
So it was bigger than just being an owner of a boutique,
it was
right?
Never about selling dresses. It was about that connection and fostering that growth within those young women. But now, as a newly divorced woman, my platform cannot be Cecile Boutique anymore. I have 3 little children that, need me, and, I can't have the stress of being a business owner. So my platform is going to change a little bit to one of more stability. But I am just truly enjoying this time, getting to know myself again, taking all the naps that I can take and giving myself the space and the freedom to enjoy this me time. So this summer, the platform is just chilling with Shana,
Yeah.
you know? So,
And you know why that's so powerful is when we know who we are, when we know identity, we know what we're called to do, we know purpose, even though it might be a little painful when the platform shifts, because I know Cecile Boutique had such meaning for you personally, right? But because your identity wasn't wrapped up in it, even though that's
okay
still
to
a
let it
loss,
go.
it's okay to say, now it's time to pivot to a new platform and to find joy and excitement in that, right?
But you know, I will say I never wanted my identity to be tied to it.
Yeah.
Like it was cringeworthy to me if someone would say, "This is Shana, she owns Cecile Boutique," because I felt like I am so much more
than that.
And they're just looking at Cecile Boutique for like the dresses and the social media and the things and the luxury and the beauty. They're not looking at like what it takes behind the scenes. So
Yeah.
I never wanted that to be just my identity. So yeah.
So what about you,
Labels
Amanda?
are easy.
Yes.
Labels are so easy just to give to people.
Yeah.
For me, you were talking about how, this summer you're changing kind of your identity a little bit. But for me, my son's going into kindergarten.
Oh.
So coming from being a stay-at-home mom to a full-time 5-year-old, to
And like, what are you going to do with your days?
exactly, like, do I get a job? Like, do I like just throw myself into more volunteer work? Like, what do I do?
Well, I'm not going to have a job either. So
Okay, let's go. We can have fun. But no, it's like my current stage of life is I'm just trying to figure out what's next for me because, again, I'm going to have all the free time on my hands with my son in kindergarten. So it's just like, do I sit at home and, do I talk to my husband all day, or do I go to a job somewhere that I don't know if I truly want?
Yeah.
we just have to give ourselves the license that it's okay to not have something to do. And I struggled with that a little bit earlier this summer. Like, I should be unpacking these boxes because I just moved. I should be doing this, but I'm just going to sit here and watch Netflix.
And that's
you
okay.
know? And that is okay. I'm going to go to lunch by myself, and not have to cut up chicken tenders.
Yes,
That part. So listen, I have to share this story and then, we're going to transition. But so this past weekend, I judged a pageant in Philly. And I had a hotel room to myself.
By yourself.
Oh my gosh.
my God.
And
Bet
can
alone.
I tell you, in the evening, I ordered my food and I'm like, I'm going to have it to go. And the other ladies are like, to go? You don't want to?
No, I want to go
No, you don't
upstairs.
understand. No,
I just
there's
wanna
nobody
sit.
upstairs that's going to ask for a bite of my food.
Yes.
There's
Yeah.
nobody who's going to interrupt my Netflix show.
Yes.
Like, I'm going to go get in that bed and eat this food
By yourself.
Bonus points if the hotel had like robes or something like that.
Like,
I would
unpopular
be-
opinion, Mother's Day, I spend alone every year.
Oh.
I'm not mad at that. So, ladies, I hope that the takeaway that, the other women who are joining us in this conversation, I hope their takeaway is that our identities don't just come from what we do.
No.
They are shaped by what we've been through. And on that note, ladies, we'll be right back after the break.
Good morning, Delaware. What's going on? It's your main man, Big Ivan, talking to town.
For years, VETV has been a trusted source of local news, storytelling, and high-quality programming that uplifts Delaware. It is a platform for community voices, a source of fair and independent journalism with a pinch of amazing entertainment.
We're going to jump right back into our conversation with Shana Williams and Amanda Kuhl. Last segment, we had a really good conversation about beyond the labels. This time, I want to talk a little bit about identity through life's transitions. Now, in the first segment, you were pretty open and vulnerable about some of your transitions in life and some of the experiences that you've had. I want to know what life event has changed you the most.
Well, I would be lying if I said anything other than breast cancer. Going through something that traumatic at 30 years old and, losing my hair, gaining weight from chemo, losing my breasts,
Yeah.
going through a lot of changes all at once, all while going through something traumatic, not really having, agency in my own life. It was really hard to take like a back seat when something so traumatic was happening to me. But that's just what I had to do to get through that phase. And those moments, again, it's not something that I want to define me. It's just a chapter in my life. It's just one of those things that, once I completed treatment, I closed that chapter and I just moved on. And now I am in, survivorship. Yeah. And that's more of the phase of life that I like to, focus on when I think about my breast cancer journey.
Yeah.
But you're also like an advocacy too, because you literally just sat here and reminded all of us to go get our mammograms.
Everyone.
So that's important. And
I want to, before you move on, I want to touch on something. I'm glad you're in survivorship. I think that it's important for you to own this now phase of your life. But what was that really like, Amanda? I mean, both of my grandmothers were breast cancer survivors. And, I don't think I was too young to appreciate what that experience must have been for them. So what was that like for you? You talked about losing your hair and losing agency over your body, and probably felt some ways your life, losing your breasts. Yep. What was that like?
So it was especially difficult because I was, again, 30 years old, going through something that I never thought was even going to be in my life, something that I would go through in my life. Yeah. And to me, you think about going to get your mammograms, like we just talked about. You don't think about those things until you're 45.
Right.
I was 15 years early, So it was something that I had to kind of cope with really quickly, that I was going through something that none of my friends were going through. Mm-hmm. I was going through something that I didn't know many other people, at least my age especially, going through. Nobody in my family went through it at the time. And then I was like, the lone warrior on that path. And everyone was always asking me, like, what can I do to help? I don't know. I'm learning. Yeah. I'm learning what I need. I'm learning what I need after, a hard day at chemo. I don't really know. Yeah. And that, to me, I think that's okay to kind of accept, is that you don't have to have all the answers at that moment to kind of go through that phase of life. You can just learn along the way. And for me, I had to learn to accept help because I never did that in my life.
And before we move on to Shana, I have to imagine that going through that at some level changed your identity or at least changed what you thought your identity was. Mm-hmm. And then maybe now in survivorship, it changed or shifted again. Yeah. So tell me about that, like that evolution through the who am I?
Yeah. So, when you're a pageant girl, your hair, your skin, your nails, like everything.
Your breasts.
We're all women,
your
right?
Your weight.
Yeah.
Your weight.
But all of those superficial things, they really are important to us because, what we portray on the outside is a part of the competition. Yeah. So the day that I, decided to shave my head, it was Mother's Day. And every day since then, when I looked into the mirror, I didn't know who I was. Because again, I spent my entire life, being a pageant girl, being a pretty MLB wife and, having those security blankets. Yeah. So it stripped away things that I thought were important. But at the end of the day, my hair was my hair. Yeah. It grew back. I mean, this isn't my hair. But it did grow back.
And isn't that wonderful as women?
Okay. Yeah.
It doesn't have to be our hair. Because we're not defined by our hair.
There's a song about that.
But those things that just weren't important, it taught me that it's okay to let those things go. Yeah. Those superficial things, if they are supposed to come back, they'll come back. Yeah. And if not, then doesn't really matter. Yeah. Who cares? So I think it's important just to, keep on trucking. Yeah. And what is important will find its way back to you.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Thank you for being so vulnerable, because I know that had to have been a tough time for you. And so, Shana, what major life event changed you the most or shaped you the most?
I mean, I think there's so many, but we all go through so many different transitions in life, and some of them are forced upon us, and some of them, are transitions that we choose to take. When I was 30, we have a vision. Yeah. All of our friends are getting married. All of our friends are having babies, and we're going to all of these baby showers. And, it just didn't work out for me at that age. And I did lose my first child. And that really changed me in such a way that I just became so empathetic. And all those things, like you said, the hair, the makeup, how I look, how I present myself, was no longer important to me anymore. I met so many people along the way that I was able to connect with. One woman, Chloe. We met on a message board for women who lost their children in similar ways. And we walked through this journey together. We had our new babies together. We had our surgeries together to be able to have children together. She has twins now, and they are 13 years old or so. And so going through that transition, although it wasn't my choice and it wasn't the plan that I had for my life, it wasn't that perfect picture that I envisioned, it really did change and humbled me.
That's a good word
in
for it.
such a way.
Yeah.
I became so much more settled. My 20s were about achievement and, accolades and acquiring the things.
Yeah.
In my 30s, I thought it was going to be about having this one daughter, because that's all I ever wanted was one daughter. I was humbled when that daughter was taken away from me. And then, as you guys know, I have two boys. I had two boys back to back. And I was like, oh my God, this is not the life that I envisioned. But because I had that daughter and I lost that daughter, I became such an amazing mother to those boys.
Yes, you did.
Even though it wasn't my vision.
Yeah.
But then God stepped in again and said, I know you're not done. We're going to have another daughter. And then I got
Harmony
the daughter.
reigns.
The daughter. I got the daughter of all daughters. So, life just has a way of really humbling you and just letting you see what's truly important,
right?
Yeah. And for me now, it's just about building these children and raising them up to be who they are supposed to be and having them be better than I was.
I love that. So how do you, and I think you guys have touched on it a little bit, but I just want to go a little bit deeper into how you embrace these life changes without losing yourself, especially Shana, and you're a mom too, so you understand too. But when you are a mother and you have children, sometimes it's so easy to get wrapped up in, even my mom, we had a conversation and that's why this identity conversation is so important, because I think, at some level in all of our lives, we don't know who we are.
Yes.
And I remember having a conversation with my mom, and she had to have been in her 50s, and she just really believed that her purpose was her children and grandchildren.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I was like, Mom, God did not put you on the earth to be a mom. I mean, he gave you the children and bless you with them, but that's not your purpose. You have so much more to give the world than just being a mother and grandmother. But I think it's so easy for us to get so lost in that.
Absolutely.
So how do you, embrace these changes in your life and not lose you?
Well, one thing for me is I heard once before that you put your kids first, God first, and your kids. But you put yourself as a very, very close number two. And one thing that I know that I need is connection. So when my kids are taken care of, I'm out doing me, okay? I am doing the things that make me happy. And if you follow me on social media, you see that I truly embrace living my own life independent of those children. And I think that that's important through any transition, is that you're always, trying to figure out and maintaining what's important to you. What do you like to do?
That's right.
I know you got to take that girl to dance class, but while she's at dance class, you want to go over there and get some dollar wings at the bar, Is it going to make you feel good to go do trivia night while she's at dance class and she's taken care of? Absolutely. So I just make sure that I always do things that make me happy, and I'm pouring into myself in whatever way that is that particular day.
I love that.
I just signed up for a dance class.
An adult dance class?
An adult dance class. Yes, I did.
What kind? What style?
Every week it's going to be a different style.
I love that.
Can't wait for hip hop.
I know. I was so good at it when I was a kid. No, but it's just, again, because I'm in that transition phase, my son is going to school. So I do have that free time now. And I'm like, okay, well, how am I going to spend that free time? So I signed up for a dance class. It's something that I used to love when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I was a dance teacher. And, when I got married and started traveling the world for baseball, that career just kind of dissolved.
Yeah.
So it's something that I'm excited to possibly, enjoy again, and we'll see how that goes.
That's so exciting. Well, I'm glad that both of you are finding ways to keep true to who you are and not getting lost in the changes and transitions in life. I do want to transition a bit. You both talked about how you can be found on social media and your involvement in social media. And today we're also navigating, maintaining identity in a world where so much of our lives and the lives of others are online. So what I want to know is, do you think that social media, from your perspective, is helping or hurting your own identities?
I work in social media. I do nonprofit social media work. So it's a part of my identity, honestly. But I loved, again, when I was going through cancer, and not having a close support system, because I did all of my treatment down in DC. I was away from my family. What I loved was, getting messages from people, whether they were in DC, whether they were home in Delaware or cross country. I loved getting messages from other people saying, I heard your story. I'm going through something similar, or my mom went through something that just, connected us. I think when social media is used with intention, it's very helpful.
Yeah, that's a good word.
Yeah.
Intention.
Intention is key. Don't get me wrong, I do share silly, dumb little TikTok trends and stuff, but when you share with intention, that's when it's really important.
Yeah. What about you, Shana?
Well, I think you should also share with vulnerability and openness and just realness.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people, when they meet me initially, they may like, oh, that's Shana. She was da 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 da. But when they see me on social media, they're like, that's Shana. She's really goofy. She's really silly. She is so much more than just Harmony's mother and just the things that she's done in her past. So I remember, as I've gone through these transitions, looking at that profile on social media where you say who you are. Yeah. And there was a time where it said wife, mother, Cecile Boutique, it said all the things. It even said German Shepherd owner, okay? Because I do have 2 German Shepherds that I love. But as I've gone through these transitions, it's changed. It's been whittled down a little bit. But there's one part that's been there forever. It's not easily broken. So as the wife popped off of the social media,
that's really good.
As Cecile Boutique popped off the social media, and it's just mom and German Shepherd owner today, not easily broken is something that is constant. So no, I'm not broken. I've gone through a lot of different transitions, and these are transitions, some that were thrust upon me and some that I chose, for my own personal and mental well-being to do these things. But nothing breaks me, and I'm still going to be out here having fun, singing songs with my friends, on my story, at the gym, and just being goofy and silly. So,
well, I do want to say that, I do social media with intention. I actually probably don't use social media as much as I should, and I actually want to get better at it because I know the benefit that it can be. But I have seen in my life, in certain seasons of my life, where social media has affected my identity in a negative way, especially being a pageant girl, right? And so, I'm not a traditional pageant girl. I didn't start pageants when I was this big. I was 30 years old when I did my first pageant. And so coming into the game late, you have the girls that have been doing it forever, and you look at their social media and just how perfect their whole social media is, and their walk is perfect, and their hair is perfect, and all things about them are perfect. And you can start to look at yourself and feel like you're not good enough.
Compare Comparison is a thief
whatever.
of joy.
It absolutely is.
Yeah.
And I know that it's not true just of, you know, ladies who are involved in pageantry, but I do have to say, for as much as I love pageantry and I've, you know, been able to come more into my own and not do the comparison thing, it is real to be on social media and feel like you're not good enough, or feel like maybe I should be a little bit more like her, and maybe that is the right way. And, you know, you can lose yourself and then, you know, find yourself not really being authentic. And instead you're mimicking, or she walks this way, or she's, you know, and so like I said, for me, I have found that social media has in seasons of my life affected me in a negative way. So for other ladies who are watching who that's true for, have you experienced that? Can you relate to that? And if not, that's okay too. What would your advice be for someone who has experienced that?
I grew up with like the beginning of Facebook, like MySpace.
Yes, I remember MySpace. That was college for me, though.
That was not
We were amateur coders on MySpace.
But like I grew up with social media just being a part of my life.
Yeah.
So, you know, going back to MySpace, like we had the top 8. We were always just like thinking about like, oh, well, this person's on that person's top 8. This person's on that. So it's always a comparison.
Yeah.
And I mean, Facebook was created for comparison purposes. So it's really hard when that was essentially what social media was created for, to separate it. But again, if you're sharing with intention, if you're sharing your authentic self, if you are confident in your own person, then those moments of, you know, self-doubt kind of just fade away over time.
That's good. So Shana, I want to ask you, because you've mentioned that you're divorced, and that's a recent thing for you, right?
Yes.
How did you feel about letting that be known on social media, right? So sometimes some people, and I don't know that you had to do this, but need to change their names on social media, or need to drop wife from social media, or maybe I'm hanging out more because I'm divorced, but you might not know that I'm divorced. So how did that show up for you?
I actually haven't shared anything on social media about my divorce. You know, I think like my friends and I, you know, you see people start to change the things that they're doing, and then you get on the group text and you're like, hey, I don't think she's with her husband. And you go through the whole investigation. So I'm sure I have been thoroughly investigated. So when people find out that I'm divorced now, I'm like, you knew this.
Yeah.
You're just asking me for confirmation. I don't have to, you know, plaster this big announcement that I am divorced. I also haven't even announced that I sold Cecile Boutique on social media. I don't feel it's necessary to share every single part of me, because that husband and that business were not who I am.
Yeah.
So, you know, I just don't see the need to share it. You can look at my actions and look at how I'm moving and know that I am divorced. I'm in a different space. If you're paying attention, if you're, you know, looking at the things that I'm doing with my children, you can see that there's no man there.
Yeah.
So, you know, I don't feel like you need to share every single thing about your life. Share what you feel comfortable with.
And I hope the viewers hear that, because I do think that we get caught up as women. I mean, men may too, but we're not talking about men today. But we get caught up in how people perceive us online. And, you know, some women may not even share how they're moving different, because what are people, they're going to think I'm still married and I haven't told, like just that whole thing. So I love that you just held true to your own power and said, I'm just going to live authentically. And my authentic life right now is that I'm divorced and I'm no longer the owner of Cecile Boutique, but I'm still living a whole life separate and apart from those labels, right?
Absolutely. I think it's just super important just to remember, while we're on this topic of conversation of social media, is, you know, our Instagram reels, our TikTok reels, they're just a highlight of our life.
Yes.
It's not like the backbone 24/7 live feed of our life.
Yeah.
No.
And if that's what you share on social media, you don't have to be sharing your 24/7 live feed of your life. It's okay to keep, you know, those things close to your chest.
Yeah. And how about the fact that even people who share their 24/7,
Right.
it's not even
The real.
authentic
No.
24/7, which was going to be something that I was going to bring up for us to talk about, is just, you know, one of the reasons that it really sucks to compare yourself to something on social media is because a lot of times you're not even
manufactured.
comparing yourself to something that's real.
Yeah.
And so how do you do that? How do you maintain your authenticity with what you're sharing on social media, not getting caught up in the masks that so many people wear.
Well, I mean, I don't have a following on social media, so like, I guess I really don't care too much. You know what I mean? But I do know people who do have followings on social media, and they are totally masked. They'll show you this perfect kitchen, but they didn't show you how that room looks behind that camera. And because I'm just so comfortable with myself and confident, I know that what I'm watching and what I'm intaking is not always real.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But you do have a following.
I mean, I have a small following. I wouldn't say I have a following. But no, I do think it's important that I just constantly remind my small following. I don't have millions of people. But I do think it's important to remind the following when you have it that, this is just a highlight reel. I'm not sharing everything about myself.
Yeah.
But when you mention sharing when you cut your hair off,
Yes.
Yeah.
I remember that video, like you in that bathroom, like it was yesterday. It was such a vulnerable moment. I remember everything that you've shared that's made me feel like more connected to you, even when you just got the new grill,
Welcome to my life.
So I think you are using your platform in such a responsible way, and you're not making it like this overly glamorous, like Major League Baseball wife.
Yeah.
And you're just doing everything with intention and with vulnerability.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's important when you have that type of following, you have a social responsibility to maintain a level of authenticity or to remind your following to have that level of authenticity because you could get caught up in it very easily.
And I've
I love
never
that.
seen a Get Ready With Me or an OOTD from you.
I've tried to film them so many times, but in real life, I just forget to finish. I just
She's already ready by the time she thinks
and
to do
then
a get ready.
I'm like, oh man, I just didn't do
Well,
that.
well, ladies, at the end of the day, our experiences, they don't just shape us, right? They also shape our legacy, right? The legacy that we leave behind and right. Because isn't that important? I mean, it's part of social media is who I am, which is part of building your legacy. So I just want our viewers to remember that too, that what you're sharing on social media, it needs to be authentic and vulnerable and true to who you are, because it does kind of give the world a glimpse into who you are. So we have so much more for you. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Good morning, Delaware. What's going on? It's your main man, Big Ivan, talking to town.
For years, DETV has been a trusted source of local news, storytelling, and high-quality programming that uplifts Delaware. It is a platform for community voices, a source of fair and independent journalism with a pinch of amazing entertainment.
Welcome back to Every Woman, Her Perspective. We are having an amazing conversation about identity and purpose and social media and all the things. So if you're just joining us, or even if you're coming back, you're not going to want to miss this segment as we talk about breaking generational cycles. So Amanda, I'm going to start with you. What family values have shaped your identity?
I think one really a big value in my family was perseverance. In pageants, it took me, 5 times to win Miss Delaware. I don't know why I just kept coming back just to lose again.
Perseverance.
Perseverance. And that really carried me into, going through my cancer battle.
Yeah.
For me, I just want my son to know that even if you're going through like a hard season, it's okay to accept that it's hard. It's okay to complain even.
Yeah.
Because what you're going through kind of does suck.
Yep.
But as long as you just keep putting one foot in front of the other, you keep persevering in that situation, the outcome's going to be, so much greater.
Yeah. You know what I love listening to you just share that, it made me think about how, God doesn't waste anything.
Mm-mm.
And even you fighting through becoming Miss Delaware, you didn't know. And listen, for people who are not involved in pageantry, those losses suck. People are just like, oh, you just didn't win this time. No, that does something to us,
Yeah.
right? Because the prep that we put, just all the things, and it really does something to us. But I don't think people understand what it takes to dust yourself off and come back again and put yourself back in that vulnerable place again, to fight again, to try again. And even though it took you 5 times, God was building something in you that he knew you were going to need for that fight. And people think, how would she equate pageantry to a fight or a battle for cancer? Not trying to put them on the same level, just the principle of the overcoming and the persevering.
Absolutely. God doesn't put you in a situation that you're not ready for.
Yeah.
And I do think, if I had won Miss Delaware my first try, I would not have been the same title holder
That's
that
right.
I was. I would not have been the same, person I am today if I won on my first try.
Yeah.
I think with every loss is how you grow.
Yeah.
Every setback just is a bigger comeback, So I think it's important to, reshape how we think about those losses, whether it is something personal, like we've gone through, or something as frivolous as a pageant.
Yes.
If you reshape how you think about those losses, you're going to be a better person with that.
And I think, and I know we're kind of getting off topic, but I think it's important to say too that sometimes losses reveal purpose, right?
Absolutely.
So I know for me, pageantry is like one big ministry. It gives me an opportunity to pour into women and meet women, and encourage women and teach them you are the crown, right? Yeah. But the first year, one of the years that sticks out to me is I was first runner-up for Mrs. Delaware America, and I was so upset. And I remember just in prayer realizing, Tetra, you never asked God, what is the purpose of this? So many times we get involved in things and we do things and we don't even know why we're doing it.
Yeah.
And so it's like, wait, what is this for? And so to your point, had I won that year, I would have just been kissing babies and shaking hands, not knowing there was something so much more powerful behind it. But that revelation of the more powerful thing came out of the loss.
Absolutely.
And so I think perseverance is a great family value. Yeah. So I just want to double into another question, and then Shana, we're going to get to you. So what cycles have you intentionally broken from your family?
So with my 5-year-old, with Hudson, we're really working on that perfectionism is not something to strive for, that your achievements don't equal your worth.
Yeah.
Growing up as a dancer, we're taught to be perfect. Growing up in the pageant world, we're taught to be perfect. So it's been a struggle for me to break down those barriers, those walls of perfectionism. I think cancer really did help that.
Yeah.
Because again, I was going around with no hair, no eyeballs, no eyebrows, no eyebrows,
the eyeballs.
no eyebrows, no lashes, like none of those things that, really defined me as a woman.
Yeah.
It really helped me break down that perfectionism mentality and, how I portray myself on a daily basis doesn't have to be perfect.
Yeah.
It's okay to be that authentic self.
I love that. Shana, what about you? What cycles have you intentionally broken?
Well, I wouldn't say I've quite broken it because I did follow along in one of the cycles, but my parents are divorced, were divorced. But for most of my life, my parents lived in separate bedrooms. Oh. So, and I saw myself doing the same thing in my marriage. Wow. And I said, my children should not see this. They should see a healthy marriage or they should see no marriage at all. And so that was probably the catalyst when I realized, I'm doing the same thing my mom and dad did. It didn't serve me, didn't serve my brother, didn't serve my sister, and my sister was even in a marriage for much longer and going through this same thing that we saw. And I just couldn't do that. I decided that I needed my kids to see something better or nothing. Yeah. And I want them to understand how important it is to choose a healthy relationship for them. Yeah. And I'm not going to take anything away from their father because they have the best father that they could possibly have. But were we the best together? No.
Yeah. And that's okay.
And, I want them to know it's okay to say, this is not my person. But I also want them to know that they can say that before they get married.
Absolutely.
When you're in your 20s, you are so caught up in the hype of everybody else is doing this. And
Yeah.
you may not be decisive enough to choose the best partner. And so I want to pour into them to like know themselves enough to know like, what can I tolerate for my entire lifetime? Because choosing the right partner for you, and you know this as a divorce attorney,
Yes.
it's the single most important thing that you can do
Yeah.
because everything is aligned to that partnership that you create.
Yeah.
So I want my kids to like, know who they are enough that they are able to choose wisely. And if it's not working for them, if it's not serving them, know to walk away at that moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I want to chime in there because that's a really important point. And so, there's no shame in wherever people are in their relationship status. If they're separated, living in the same house, everybody has their own path, their own journey. And so there's no shame wherever people are.
Yeah.
But I think that's an important point because, I am the product of a 19-year-old college freshman who dropped out of college to
Yes.
have me and raise me. Wow. And then my father was 23 years old, but still in college. And my parents never married. My mom did marry. She married, I don't call him my stepdad, and he would
Yes.
hurt me really bad for
Yeah.
even using that word, but just for differentiation. I was raised by my mom and my stepdad, but my biological father and my mom's family could not be any more different. They were so completely different.
Yes.
And sometimes being over here and, let's say my mom's family is family A and my dad's family is B. I felt like when I was with the B family, I was a little too much A to fit in.
Yeah.
And when I was with the A family, I was a little too much B to fit in.
Yes.
And so it really affected my identity.
Yes.
Who am I? Where do I fit? And so when you talk about, what children see growing up, that's so vital to what they identify with.
Yes.
And I struggled with trying to fit in because if you don't feel like you fit in your own family, well, where the heck do you fit in if I don't fit in here and here? And so for me, it became important that, when I got older and made decisions
Yes.
to choose someone that I at least believed, right, that we could really be together and be
Yes.
united for our children so that our children could be as confident as possible in their identity because, both mom and dad are here. We have the same values. We have the same mindset. We have the same principles. We have the same rules. And so it just gave them a foundation.
Yeah.
Not that they're going to be perfect either. They're going to have mommy and daddy issues because we're not perfect parents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that foundation of the togetherness of family versus what I came from, which is like, well, am I this? Am I that? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And so I think that's a really thank you for being so vulnerable,
Yeah.
both of you, about these family dynamics because they play such a
Yes.
part. Even the perfectionism, oh my God. I felt that strongly growing up too because I had people, unfortunately, in my life that told me what I wouldn't be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've just been the kind of person, I'm going to
Absolutely.
show you, yes, I am. So,
Yeah. And my children's identity, like, I can see how it has been affected by my marriage more so in my older son, because he didn't really think of our family as a unit. But what he did identify with is the things that unit brought to his life. I remember him telling me one day, like, just because we have a bit of money, I was like, ooh,
that's a bit of money.
because he thought that the things that we had equaled being of a certain like social status. And now we've moved from that big 5,000 square foot house to a townhouse. And I think it's good for him to understand that these things may change, but we may have a lot more love in this house over here because mom's more happy.
Yeah.
And you may have a lot more love in that house because dad's more happy,
Yeah. And that's what really matters.
Absolutely.
And that's what's going to affect and help shape their identity. So thank you so much for sharing. Before we wrap up, I know this has been I'm so grateful for your transparency, ladies. And it takes a level of knowing who you are to be able to be this transparent and open. But before we wrap up, it's time for Unpopular Perspective. So we're going to lighten it up a little bit, have a little bit of fun. And I'm going to just pick a couple statements and give me your answer, just your knee-jerk answer quickly.
Okay.
So Unpopular Perspective. You should Google someone. Shana, we'll start with you. You should Google someone before the first date.
Heck yeah. Yes, absolutely. First of all, I'm 5'11". So you can't be rolling up there and being 5'9" and claiming that you're 6 foot tall. So that's not going to work for me. So I definitely have to Google for that. But just Google who you are on social media. We might not align.
Oh, I always put
Good
the
answer.
FBI hat on for my friends.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
I will dive deep into someone's social media if I need to.
So your opinion is yes. Google
100%.
before the first date. Okay. And last Unpopular Perspective, we'll start with you. Amanda, it's okay to outgrow friendships.
Absolutely. I was thinking about it the other day. Like, the friends that I had in college are not the same group that I have today.
Yeah.
And that's okay. Some have, moved across country. Some have, still lived right down the street. But our seasons of life just had us, shift
And that's
ever so
okay.
slightly away. And that's okay.
Yeah.
But not to the point where we can't just reach out to someone and
Right.
say, hey, just checking in on you.
Yeah.
How you doing? If
Yeah.
we see something.
Yeah. Or I heard a song that made me think
Yeah.
about that time
Yeah.
whatever,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
So what do you think, Shana? It's okay to outgrow friendships.
I mean, outgrowing doesn't mean falling out.
Yes.
So, I have a group of women right now, and you are in it, that have carried me through this phase of my life, but they might not be the same women that I hung out with in high school and college and things like that. So your needs and your group and your core is going to, a couple of different people are going to come in through different seasons.
Yeah,
Yeah.
your needs change.
Yeah.
and
That's right.
That's okay.
And that's okay. My favorite example, and then we'll wrap it up, as much as I love talking to you and feel like I could do this all night long. My favorite example of relationships, for those of you who are familiar with Delaware, you'll be able to relate to this. For those who are, international, because we have an international
Oh,
following.
wow. Maybe I'll get some more followers.
No, but seriously, my favorite example is if I'm in Dover
Yes.
and you're with me, Amanda, we're in Dover.
Yep.
And I want to go to Wilmington and you want to go to Rehoboth Beach. As much as I love you and as
okay.
fabulous and fantastic as you are, you can't get in my car.
No.
Right?
We'll catch you at another time.
Catch you at another time. And that's how I feel about some friendships. It doesn't mean that anything happened or went wrong.
Yeah.
It just means that we're in Dover
Yeah.
and I'm going that way and you want to go that way. And we just can't get in the same car.
Yeah.
But we can hit each other up on social media and you can tell me how the beach was and I
Yeah.
can tell you how DETV's experience was, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And we can still love each other.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you, ladies, for spending this time with me. And you've blessed my life. So I know that there are so many women whose lives are going to be enriched. And I think, too, who will be left with just left in thought to really think through some of their own perspectives and dynamics and identity and transitions and purpose and all the things. So just know that you've changed a lot of lives today. So thank you for being with me. So I want to say there's a saying or a sentence where it's, I know I am this because of that. And so I want to end this show on identity by saying, today, I know I am enough because I am divinely and uniquely created,
Yes, ma'am.
as is every woman. So I want to thank my guests again for joining me today. Thank you to Shana Williams and Amanda Kuhl for sharing their stories, their perspectives, their hearts with us today. And thank you for joining us. We hope today's conversation really gave you something to think about and maybe even a new perspective. Please follow us at everywoman_DETV on social media so you never miss a conversation. And if you were blessed today, please let us know by leaving comments and let us know what your takeaways are. I just want to inspire and really just encourage you to really get personal with yourself about who you are, what you're here on this earth to do, and what platforms are around and are available to you to make those dreams and make those things come true, because you truly are made uniquely and divinely and with a purpose. Thank you for joining us on Every Woman, Her Perspective. I am your host, Tetra Shockley.